SCI-FI had tortured 17 different species across 4 galactic sectors, and not one of them had ever smiled while bleeding. Not until today, the human female, designation Maya Torres, sat strapped to the neural extraction chair with third-degree plasma burns across her left arm, and she was actually grinning, not the desperate, broken smile of a mind snapping under pressure. No, this was something else entirely. Something that made Corax-4's chitinous exoskeleton crawl with an unfamiliar sensation he couldn't quite name. "You know what the funny thing is?" Maya said, her voice steady despite the pain inhibitors being set to 0. "You actually think you are winning." Corax-4 clicked his mandibles in irritation. 3 standard rotations he'd been working on this specimen, and still she wouldn't break. The Hegemony Council had been very clear about their expectations. Extract the location of the human military research facility. Use whatever methods necessary. Failure was not an option. Your species' tolerance for pain is noteworthy, Corax-4 admitted, adjusting the neural probe's intensity. But even humans have limits. Everyone breaks eventually. Maya's laugh was genuinely amused, which was absolutely ridiculous considering her current circumstances. "Oh, I'm sure they do. Question is, will you find mine before your superiors realize what you have actually captured?" The interrogator paused, his 4 eyes focusing on her face. There was something in her tone that bothered him. A confidence that didn't belong in this room. "What are you implying? Me? Nothing at all." Maya's smile widened. "I'm just a lowly communications officer who got caught behind enemy lines." "Right, that's what your intelligence reports say. Anyway." Corax-4's primary datapad chimed with an incoming message. He glanced at it, expecting another demand for progress from his superiors. Instead, he found something far more disturbing. Priority alert. Human fleet movements detected in sector destination unknown. Recommend immediate security protocols. His secondary eyes remained fixed on Maya, while his primary pair scanned the message. Coincidence? "Is it?" Maya tilted her head, still smiling. "Tell me, Corax-4, how many interrogation subjects have you had who knew your name before you introduced yourself?" The chitinous creature went very still. He hadn't introduced himself. That was protocol. Keep the subject disoriented, anonymous. Never give them personal details to latch onto. Yet somehow, this human had addressed him by name from the moment they'd brought her into the facility. "You are wondering how I knew," Maya continued, as if reading his thoughts. "It's eating at you, isn't it? That tiny little detail that doesn't fit. Makes you question everything else." Corax-4 activated the neural probe again, sending white-hot agony through Maya's nervous system. She arched against the restraints, but the sound that came from her throat wasn't a scream, it was laughter. "You know what else is funny?" she gasped between chuckles. "You think you captured me?" The interrogator's mandibles clicked rapidly, a sign of growing agitation. "Explain." "Oh, I couldn't possibly. That would ruin the surprise." Maya's eyes gleamed with something that looked suspiciously like anticipation. "But you might want to check on your perimeter defenses. Just a suggestion." Another alert chimed on Corax-4's datapad, then another. His secondary hands moved quickly across the interface, while his primary pair kept the neural probe trained on Maya. External sensor grid reporting anomalies. Multiple contacts approaching from Vector 7 Alpha. Configuration unknown. "Still think it's a coincidence?" Maya asked sweetly. Corax-4's exoskeleton began to shift color, a natural response to stress that he couldn't quite suppress. "You are bluffing. Even if your people somehow tracked you here, this facility is impregnable. Our defenses are designed to repel conventional attacks." "Yes, I read the specifications." Maya's smile turned predatory. "Fascinating reading, actually. Especially the part about the shield generators being vulnerable to harmonic resonance at specific frequencies." The interrogator's 4 eyes went wide. Those specifications were classified at the highest levels. No captured communications officer should have access to that information. Unless, Who are you? He whispered. I told you. Maya Torres. Communications officer, service number 7. Her voice remained perfectly calm, but her eyes were dancing with barely contained mirth. Of course, that's not the whole truth. But then again, you never asked the right questions. The facility's emergency klaxons began to wail. CORIX-4's primary datapad erupted with alerts, each one more urgent than the last. Shield generators experiencing harmonic interference. Defensive systems offline. Multiple breaches detected. Impossible, CORIX-4 breathed. You know what your problem is, Maya said, her voice barely audible over the alarm. You think like prey. Always reactive, never proactive. You capture what you think is a small fish, and you never stop to wonder if maybe, just maybe, you are the one swimming into the net. The interrogation chamber's lights flickered and died. Emergency illumination cast everything in a hellish red glow. Through the facility's communication system, CORIX-4 could hear the panicked voices of his security teams reporting contact with human forces. Not just any human forces, but special operations units moving with surgical precision through the facility's defenses. You are not a communications officer, CORIX-4 said, his voice hollow with growing realization. Well, technically I am, among other things. Maya's smile was absolutely terrifying in the red light. Did you know that humans have this wonderful concept called multitasking? We can be more than one thing at once. Revolutionary. I know. The interrogator's mandibles clicked frantically as he processed this information. If she wasn't just a communications officer, then what else was she? And more importantly, what had he missed during his interrogation? The pain, he said suddenly. You weren't just enduring it, you were enjoying it. Enjoying is a strong word, but you are getting warmer. Maya's eyes gleamed with something that might have been approval. See, most species, when they are captured, they try to minimize the damage. They cooperate. They break. They tell their captors what they want to hear. But humans, sometimes we have a different approach. What approach? We make you hurt us until you think you are winning, until you are so focused on breaking us that you forget to watch your backs. The facility shuddered as something large impacted the outer hull. CORIX-4's datapad showed catastrophic damage to the main defensive arrays. His security teams were falling back to secondary positions, but the human forces were advancing with an efficiency that suggested intimate knowledge of the facility's layout. You have been feeding them information, he accused. Have I? When exactly would I have done that? You have had me under constant surveillance, neural dampeners, communication scramblers, isolation protocols. I haven't sent a single message since I arrived. Then how? Maya's smile widened. You are still asking the wrong questions, CORIX. The real question isn't how I have been communicating with my people. The real question is why you think I needed to. The interrogator's exoskeleton shifted through several colors as he processed this statement. If she hadn't been communicating with human forces, then how had they found the facility? How had they known exactly where to strike? Unless, you didn't need to be rescued, he said slowly. You wanted to be captured. Give that alien a prize, Maya said cheerfully. Though I have to say, you are a bit slow on the uptake. Most of my colleagues would have figured it out by now. Colleagues? Oh, did I not mention? I'm not just a communications officer. I'm also part of something your intelligence services probably haven't heard of yet. We call it the Trojan Horse Protocol. CORIX-4's blood turned to ice. Or at least, the chitinous equivalent of ice. You are a saboteur. Among other things, yes. See, humans have this delightful habit of learning from history. And one of the things we learned is that sometimes the best way to get inside an enemy stronghold is to let them drag you in. The facility's main power grid flickered and died. Emergency power kicked in, but even that was unstable. Through the growing chaos, CORIX-4 could hear the distinctive whine of human plasma weapons cutting through bulkheads. What have you done? He whispered. Me? Nothing at all. I have been sitting right here, being tortured by you for the past 3 rotations. I haven't touched a single system. Maya's eyes sparkled with malicious glee. But you know what's funny about neural probes? They are designed to extract information from organic brains. They send out specific electromagnetic pulses to stimulate memory centers and pain receptors. Yes, I know how they work. Do you? Because here's the thing about humans that your intelligence reports apparently missed. We don't just use organic neural networks. We integrate them with quantum processors. And those quantum processors, they are really good at recording and analyzing electromagnetic patterns. The implications hit Corix 4 like a plasma bolt to the thorax. You have been mapping our systems. Every pulse, every frequency, every security protocol that interface with this chair. 3 rotations of detailed scans, and I now know more about your facility's electronic infrastructure than most of your own technicians. Maya's smile was absolutely predatory. Including the access codes for your defensive system. The interrogator stumbled backward, his 4 eyes wide with horror. The neural probe, it was a two-way connection. Isn't evolution wonderful? Your species developed advanced interrogation techniques. And my species developed ways to turn those techniques into weapons. Darwin would be so proud. The interrogation chamber's door exploded inward. Through the smoke and debris, Corix 4 saw shapes moving with lethal grace. Human soldiers, their faces hidden behind combat masks, their weapons trained on everything that moved. Maya, one of them, called out, "You okay?" "Oh, I'm fantastic," Maya replied, her voice bright with enthusiasm. Corix 4 here was just giving me a guided tour of his facility's security systems. Very educational. The lead soldier approached the neural extraction chair and began working on Maya's restraints. "Did you get what we needed? Complete facility schematics, defensive protocols, communication frequencies, and administrative access codes, plus a detailed psychological profile of our host here." Maya flexed her fingers as the restraints fell away. "I have to say, Corix 4, you are much more predictable than your species likes to admit." The interrogator watched in numb disbelief as Maya stood up from the chair that had been her prison for 3 rotations. Her movements were fluid, unimpaired by her injuries. "Professional, dangerous. You planned this," he said weakly. "From the moment your patrol ships detected my damaged vessel drifting in your space, did you really think a human communications officer would be traveling alone in a military-grade stealth ship in hostile territory, with outdated navigation systems that just happened to fail at exactly the right moment to bring me within range of your patrol routes? The distress beacon was broadcasting on frequencies I knew you'd be monitoring, along with just enough encrypted data to make you think you'd stumbled onto something valuable. Human military communications, partial troop movements, supply routes. All very tempting bait. Corix 4's exoskeleton had shifted to a pale, sickly color. The information we extracted was carefully prepared disinformation, designed to make you think you were winning, while actually leading you exactly where we wanted you to go. Your superiors are probably acting on that intelligence right now, moving their forces to defend against attacks that will never come, while leaving their real strategic assets exposed. One of the human soldiers approached with a medical kit. Maya waved him off. "I'm fine. The burns are superficial." His neural probe was calibrated for chitinous nervous systems, barely tickled. "But you screamed," Corix 4 protested weakly. "You showed pain. I showed you what you expected to see, what you needed to see to keep using that probe, to keep giving me access to your systems." Maya's smile was absolutely terrible. "You know what the really funny part is? You could have just asked me nicely. I might have told you the truth." The facility shuddered again as more explosions rocked the outer hull. Through the communication system, Corix 4 could hear his security teams surrendering one by one. The human forces were moving through the facility like they owned it, which, considering Maya's infiltration, they essentially did. "What happens now?" Corix 4 asked. Now you get to experience human hospitality." Maya gestured to the soldiers surrounding them. "Don't worry. We are much more civilized than you are. We don't torture our prisoners. We just ask them politely to answer some questions. And if we refuse, Maya's smile widened. Then we wait. You see, humans have this wonderful quality called patience. We can wait for years, decades even, for the right opportunity. And eventually, everyone wants to talk to someone. The lead soldier spoke into his communication device. Package secured. Facility is ours. Beginning intelligence extraction. You haven't won, CARX-4 said desperately. This is just one facility. The hegemony has hundreds of installations across the galaxy. Had, Maya corrected gently. Past tense. See, while you were busy trying to break me, my colleagues were busy implementing the intelligence I have been gathering. Your communication frequencies, your defensive protocols, your supply routes. All of it. The interrogator's 4 eyes went wide with understanding. You are not just saboteurs, you are coordinators. Among other things, yes, the Trojan Horse Protocol isn't just about individual infiltration, it's about network warfare. One captured agent becomes a window into an entire command structure. And once we have that window, the facility's main communication array crackled to life. Through the static, CARX-4 could hear reports from across the sector. Human forces striking simultaneously at multiple targets. Defensive systems failing at precisely the right moments. Confusion and panic spreading through hegemony command networks. Impossible, he breathed. You keep using that word. I don't think it means what you think it means. Maya stretched, working the stiffness out of her shoulders. The thing about humans is, we are really good at impossible things. It's kind of our specialty. The lead soldier handed Maya a clean uniform and a fresh communication device. She accepted both, with the casual ease of someone who had never doubted this moment would come. How many? CARX-4 asked weakly. How many what? How many of you are there? How many agents like you? Maya's smile was absolutely terrifying. Oh, we are everywhere. In your prisons, your research facilities, your military installations. Some of us have been in place for years, just waiting for the right moment. Others are being captured as we speak, ready to begin their own Trojan horse operations. The interrogator's exoskeleton shifted through several colors of distress. You are parasites, infiltrators. We are survivors, Maya corrected. Your species declared war on humanity. You chose to make this personal. You decided to test our resolve. Her voice turned cold. Congratulations, you found it. The facility's lights flickered one final time before stabilizing under human control. Through the communication system, CARX-4 could hear human voices coordinating salvage operations, intelligence extraction, and prisoner processing. His facility, his impregnable nutris, had become a human forward operating base in the space of a few hours. The irony is delicious, isn't it? Maya said, watching his growing despair. You captured me to break me, to extract intelligence, to learn how to defeat humanity. And instead, you gave me everything I needed to defeat you. We will never surrender, CARX-4 said, trying to inject some defiance into his voice. Oh, you won't have to. See, that's the beautiful thing about the Trojan Horse Protocol. We don't need you to surrender. We just need you to keep being exactly who you are. Predictable, arrogant, convinced of your own superiority. Maya walked toward the door, flanked by her rescue team. At the threshold, she turned back to look at CARX-4 one last time. You know what the really funny part is? You are going to help us do this again. To your allies, your trading partners, your military commanders. Because when they ask you how we did it, you are going to tell them. And they are going to think they are smarter than you. They are going to think they can avoid your mistakes. The interrogator's mandibles clicked weakly. They will be prepared. Will they? Because here's the thing about humans, CARX-4. We don't just learn from our victories. We learn from our defeats. Every time you think you have figured us out, we have already moved on to the next level. Maya's smile was absolutely radiant. The Trojan Horse Protocol isn't just one strategy. It's a philosophy, a way of thinking. and it's spreading. What do you mean? I mean that right now, across the galaxy, there are humans in chains, in cells, in interrogation chambers, just like this one, and every single one of them is smiling, just like I was, because they know what you haven't figured out yet. What? Maya's eyes sparkled with anticipation, that this is just the beginning. The door slid shut behind her, leaving Carix-4 alone with his thoughts and the growing realization that he hadn't captured a prisoner at all. He had opened the door to an invasion, and the invaders were already in. In the distance he could hear the sound of human laughter echoing through the corridors of his former prison. It was, he realized, the most terrifying sound in the galaxy. 3 standard rotations later, Supreme Commander Thek Valorian stood in the ruins of what had been the hegemony's most secure intelligence facility, staring at reports that made absolutely no sense. 17 installations across 4 sectors had fallen simultaneously, not through overwhelming force, but through what could only be described as systematic sabotage from within. Explain to me again how a single human communications officer managed to orchestrate this, he demanded, his voice carrying the kind of controlled fury that made subordinates pray for quick deaths. Carix-4, now stripped of his interrogator rank and shackled in compliance restraints, struggled to find words that wouldn't sound completely insane. She turned the neural probe into a scanning device, used it to map our entire network infrastructure, while I thought I was torturing her. The communications officer, that's what she claimed, yes. Overcame advanced neural dampeners, isolation protocols, and quantum encrypted security systems. While being tortured, Carix-4's exoskeleton shifted to a pale, defeated color. She wasn't just a communications officer, she was part of something called the Trojan Horse Protocol. Supreme Commander Thek Valorian's 4 primary eyes focused on the former interrogator with the intensity of plasma cutters. And you believed her? The evidence speaks for itself, sir. 17 facilities, compromised simultaneously, defensive systems that failed at precisely the right moments, communication networks that broadcast false intelligence, while real human forces struck at our weak points. Carix-4's voice cracked. She knew things, sir. Things that no captured prisoner should have known. Such as, your personal authorization codes for one. The Supreme Commander went very still. Impossible. Those codes are changed daily, known only to the highest levels of command. She recited them to me. All of them, including the ones from tomorrow. The K. Valorian's mandibles clicked rapidly, a sign of extreme agitation. You are suggesting she could predict our security protocols. I'm suggesting she didn't need to predict them, she already knew them. Carix-4's voice dropped to a whisper. Sir, I think we have been infiltrated at levels we can't even comprehend. The Supreme Commander turned to study the tactical displays surrounding them. Each screen showed the same devastating pattern. Human forces appearing exactly where hegemony defenses were weakest. Supply convoys ambushed at precisely the right moments. Communication hubs that broadcast false orders while real human intelligence flowed freely through compromised channels. Status report, he commanded. His aide, a nervous creature designated Flux Prime, consulted his datapad with trembling appendages. Sector 7 has fallen completely. Sectors 4 and 9 are reporting systematic failures across all defensive installations. Our forces are retreating to secondary positions. He paused, mandibles clicking, uncertainly. But what? The humans seem to know our secondary positions as well, sir. They are already there, waiting for us. The Valorian's exoskeleton shifted through several colors of rage. How is that possible? We think they have access to our strategic databases, sir. All of them. That's impossible. Our databases are quantum encrypted, air-gapped, and physically secured. Yes, sir. That's what makes this so disturbing. The Supreme Commander studied the displays again, his tactical mind trying to process what he was seeing. It wasn't just that humans were winning individual battles. It was that they seemed to know exactly what the hegemony would do before the hegemony did it. Bring me the human, he ordered. Sir? The one who started this. Maya Torres. I want to speak with her. Flux Prime's exoskeleton shifted to a worried shade of blue. Sir, she's not exactly a prisoner anymore. She's running the intelligence operation they have set up in the lower levels. She's what? The humans have converted our detention facilities into their own command center. They are using our own equipment to coordinate attacks across the sector. And they have been very polite about it. They even returned our data pads after downloading everything. The Carvalorian's 4 eyes went wide with disbelief. They returned our equipment, with a note thanking us for our cooperation, and a suggestion that we might want to upgrade our security protocols. This is madness. Yes, sir. But it's very effective madness. The Supreme Commander's communication array chimed with an incoming message. He activated it, expecting another report of disaster. Instead, he found himself looking at a familiar human face. Maya Torres smiled at him from what appeared to be his own command center. Hello, Supreme Commander Tharg Valorian. I hope you don't mind that I'm using your communication system. It's really quite advanced. He breathed. Me indeed. I wanted to thank you personally for your hospitality. The accommodations were educational. What do you want? To talk. Civilized beings having a civilized conversation. Would you mind joining me in what used to be your strategic planning room? I have some things to show you. Tharg Valorian's mandibles clicked with suppressed fury. You are in no position to make demands. Oh, I'm not making demands, I'm extending an invitation. Though I should mention that your remaining forces are currently surrounded by mine, your supply lines have been cut, and your communication networks are broadcasting everything you say directly to human intelligence. Maya's smile widened. But by all means, feel free to decline. I'm sure you have other pressing matters to attend to. The Supreme Commander looked around at his tactical displays, each one showing the systematic collapse of his command structure. What guarantee do I have that this isn't a trap? None whatsoever. But then again, what do you have left to lose? 20 minutes later, Tharg Valorian found himself walking through corridors that had been his stronghold just rotations ago. Human soldiers nodded politely as he passed, their weapons lowered but ready. The efficiency of their operation was breathtaking. They hadn't just captured his facility, they had optimized it. Maya Torres was waiting for him in what had been the Supreme Commander's private strategic planning room. She sat at his desk, reviewing reports on his personal data pad, looking completely at ease. Thank you for coming, she said, gesturing to a chair. Please, sit. Can I offer you anything? Your food synthesizers are actually quite good. I will stand. Suit yourself. Maya activated the room's holographic displays, showing tactical information that made Tharg Valorian's blood run cold. I wanted to show you something interesting. Do you recognize this? The display showed a detailed map of hegemony space, with human forces marked in blue and alien forces in red. What should have been a vast expanse of red territory was now shot through with blue, like an infection spreading through a body. Impossible, he whispered. You keep saying that word. I'm starting to think you don't understand what it means. Maya manipulated the display, zooming in on specific sectors. 47 installations, Supreme Commander. 47 of your most secure facilities, all compromised simultaneously. Care to guess how we did it? The Trojan Horse Protocol. Very good. But do you understand what that actually means? The Tharg Valorian studied the display, his tactical mind working through the implications. Multiple infiltration agents, coordinated timing, systematic intelligence gathering. Close, but not quite right. The Trojan Horse Protocol isn't just about infiltration, it's about invitation. Maya stood up, moving to the display. See, the beautiful thing about your species is how predictable you are. You capture humans, you torture them, you try to break them. It's what you do. It's who you are. And we count on it. Every human you capture, every prisoner you take, every agent you think you have broken. They are all part of the same operation. Some of them don't even know it themselves. The Supreme Commander's exoskeleton shifted through several colors of confusion. What do you mean? I mean that right now, across the galaxy, there are humans in your detention facilities. Some of them are genuine prisoners, captured in legitimate military operations. Others are volunteers who allowed themselves to be taken. And some, Maya's smile turned predatory, some are so deeply embedded in their cover identities that they genuinely believe they are prisoners. Sleeper agents. More than that, sleeper agents with false memories, implanted personalities, and genuine emotional responses. They will pass every test you can devise, because, as far as they know, they really are what they appear to be, right up until the moment they are activated. The Valorian felt his legs give way. He sank into the offered chair, staring at the tactical display. How many what? How many of our prisoners are your agents? Maya's smile widened. Would you like the exact number? Because I can give it to you. Thanks to the intelligence we have gathered from your facilities, we now have complete records of every human prisoner in hegemony space. Names, locations, detention conditions, interrogation schedules, everything. She manipulated the display again, and suddenly it was full of small yellow dots, hundreds of them, scattered across hegemony space like stars in the night sky. Each yellow dot represents a human prisoner in your custody. Some are genuine, some are volunteers, some are sleepers, and some, she paused for dramatic effect, some are people who don't even know they are human. What? Genetic infiltrators, humans who have been surgically and genetically modified to appear as members of your own species. They could be anywhere, anyone. They could be in your command structure, your intelligence services, your personal staff. The Supreme Commander's 4 eyes went wide with horror. You are lying. Am I? Tell me, Supreme Commander, how well do you really know your subordinates? How certain are you that they are who they claim to be? The gay. Valorian's mind raced through the faces of his staff, his advisors, his trusted commanders. Any one of them could be a human infiltrator. Any one of them could be feeding information to the enemy. This is psychological warfare, he said, trying to maintain some composure. This is practical warfare. We fight to win, not to make statements. Maya returned to her seat, her expression becoming serious. But that's not why I asked you here. Then why? Because I want to make you an offer. What kind of offer? Surrender. Bigake. Valorian's mandibles clicked with bitter laughter. You expect me to surrender my entire fleet to a communications officer? I expect you to surrender your entire fleet to avoid what happens if you don't. Maya's voice turned cold. See? The thing about the Trojan Horse Protocol is that it's scalable. What we have done to your installations, we can do to your ships, your planets, your entire civilization. You are bluffing. Am I? Let me show you something else. Maya activated another display, this one showing real-time feeds from across hegemony space. These are live feeds from your own surveillance systems, your own ships, your own command centers. The Supreme Commander watched in growing horror as the feeds showed human forces in locations that should have been impossible for them to reach. A human team walking freely through the corridors of his flagship. Another team accessing data terminals in his most secure research facility. A third team standing in what appeared to be the Hegemony Council chambers themselves. How? He whispered. We have been planning this for years. Every captured human, every interrogation, every bit of intelligence you thought you were extracting. It was all part of the plan. You have been feeding us information about your own defenses while thinking you were breaking us. But the prisoners, they showed pain. They broke. They gave us information. They gave you exactly what we wanted you to have. False troop movements, outdated supply routes, obsolete communication protocols. Everything you needed to believe you were winning while we positioned ourselves to destroy you. The Supreme Commander stared at the displays, his mind struggling to process the magnitude of what he was seeing. Your entire species, you are all in on this. Not all of us, but enough. Maya's expression softened slightly. The thing you need to understand, Supreme Commander, is that humans don't fight like other species. We don't just adapt to our environment, we adapt our environment to us. And when someone threatens our existence, we don't just defend ourselves, we eliminate the threat. By infiltrating our entire civilization, by becoming part of your civilization, by making ourselves indispensable to your operations, while simultaneously undermining them, by being so thoroughly integrated into your systems that you can't remove us without destroying yourselves. The Keth. Valorian looked up at Maya, his four eyes reflecting a mixture of defeat and grudging respect. What happens now? Now you have a choice. You can surrender, and we will treat your people with the respect and dignity that you failed to show ours. Or you can fight, and we will systematically dismantle your civilization from the inside out. And if we surrender, then we negotiate reparations for the humans you have tortured and killed, territorial concessions, technology sharing, a peace treaty that ensures this never happens again. And if we fight, Maya's smile returned, but it was no longer predatory. It was sad. Then in 6 months, there won't be a hegemony left to fight. Your own people will be doing our work for us, and they won't even know it. The Supreme Commander sat in silence for long moments, studying the tactical displays. Everywhere he looked, he saw the same pattern: human forces where they shouldn't be, failed defenses, compromised communications. His entire military structure was collapsing, not from external pressure, but from internal rot. How long? He asked finally. How long what? How long have you been planning this? Since the moment your species declared war on humanity, we knew we couldn't match your technology or your numbers, but we also knew we didn't have to. We just had to be smarter. And you were. We were desperate. Desperation makes people create. Maya stood up, moving to the viewport that showed the space around the facility. Look out there, Supreme Commander. What do you see? The Ket Valorian joined her at the viewport. Outside, human and alien ships moved in formation, working together to secure the area. Your fleet. Our fleet. Some of those ships are human. Some are alien vessels that decided to join us. Some are ships crewed by humans who have been serving aboard them for years, waiting for this moment. You turned our own people against us. We gave them a choice: fight for a cause they believe in, or continue serving a regime that sees them as expendable. Maya turned to face him. The same choice I'm giving you now. The Supreme Commander's exoskeleton shifted through several colors as he processed his option. What guarantee do I have that you will honor your terms? The same guarantee you gave the humans you captured. None. Maya's voice was gentle but firm. But I will tell you this. Humans keep their promises, even to their enemies. Especially to their enemies. Why? Because we want this to end. We want to go home, to our families, to our lives. We want to build things instead of destroying them. But we will keep destroying until you stop giving us reasons to. The Cavalorian stared out at the combined fleet, his mind working through the implications. If I surrender, if I order my forces to stand down, what happens to me? You will be treated with dignity. Confined, certainly, but not tortured, not broken. You will be given access to communication with your people, opportunities to negotiate for their welfare. Everything you denied the humans in your custody, and my people, will be given the same choice you are facing now. Join us, or be left behind. Fight for a better future, or cling to a past that's already dead. The Supreme Commander turned away from the viewport, his four eyes meeting Maya's steady gaze. You have won, completely and utterly. You have turned our greatest strength into our greatest weakness. Your greatest strength was never your military might. It was your unity, your shared purpose. But you threw that away the moment you started treating other species as less than equal. Maya's voice carried a note of genuine sadness. You could have been allies. Instead, you chose to be enemies. And now you choose again, but this time you choose knowing the full cost of your decision. The Cavalorian looked around the room that had been his command center, now operated by humans who had treated him with more respect than he had shown their captured comrades. I need to speak with my fleet commanders. Of course, but remember, Supreme Commander, every moment you delay, more of your people are making their own choices. And not all of them are choosing to wait for your decision. As if summoned by her words, the communication array chimed with an incoming message. The face that appeared on the screen was that of Fleet Admiral Crix Maximus, one of Thick Felorian's most trusted commanders. Supreme Commander, the Admiral said, his voice heavy with defeat. I'm calling to inform you that Battle Group 7 has decided to accept the human terms. We are standing down and requesting instructions for formal surrender. Crix Maximus, I'm sorry, sir, but my crews, they have seen what happened to the installations. They know this war is over. They want to survive. How many others? As of this moment, 37 ships across 4 battle groups. The number is growing. Thick Felorian closed his eyes, feeling the weight of command settling on his shoulders like a crushing force. I see, sir, the humans, they are not asking us to betray our principles. They are asking us to choose our future. My crews have families, sir. They want to see them again. I understand. Do you, sir? Because I'm not sure I do. How did we get here? How did we become the monsters in this story? The Supreme Commander opened his eyes, looking at Maya Torres, who was watching the conversation with patient understanding. I think we forgot that our enemies were people too. Sir, stand down, Admiral. All ships, all battle groups, send word to the Hegemony Council that I'm ordering a general ceasefire. Sir, are you certain? I'm certain that the war is over. I'm certain that we lost. And I'm certain that the humans are offering us something we never offered them. What's that, sir? A second chance. The communication ended, leaving Thek Valorian alone with Maya in the strategic planning room. Outside, he could see ships beginning to power down their weapons, their crews preparing for an uncertain but hopeful future. You know what the strangest thing is? He said finally. What? I actually feel relieved. Maya smiled, and for the first time since he'd met her, it was a warm, genuine expression. That's the thing about carrying hate, Supreme Commander. It's exhausting. Letting go of it feels like taking off heavy armor. What happens now? Now we build something better. Together. Outside the viewport, human and alien ships moved in formation, no longer enemies, but partners in an uncertain future. The war was over, but the real work was just beginning. And in detention facilities across the galaxy, human prisoners smiled as they received word that they could finally go home.